Welcome back to WTF Computer. Today we're going to be creating a website in HTML5. If you haven't already, go ahead and download Visual Studio Code. The link is in the description, or you can just go to code.visualstudio.com, download whatever build suitable for your operating system and open it up. Once we're in Visual Studio, go ahead and hit File, New File, and save it straight away. In a folder on the desktop, I've called mine HTML Basics, and name it as index.html. It does need to be called index.html, mainly because everyone else in the industry names their first file as index and .html, because that's the file we're writing. Index is also the most common name for the home page. You'll see down here, it's running file create participants. This can take up to a few minutes, especially if your computer's a potato like mine. You'll notice up here the file name is Untitled-1. Once this file create participants is ran, this will change to index.html.
Take your time, don't rush the clock. Bring it back to life, back to reality. Take your time, don't rush the clock.
Now we've got our index file. The first thing we're going to do is download an extension called Live Server. So go ahead and just type in Live Server in this search bar, hit enter, and install. Once you've installed Live Server, go back to your Explorer panel and just hit Open Folder, and open the folder you were created and saved your index to earlier. So mine is HTML Basics. I'm just going to hit Add. Let this load. Alright, now it's done its thing. We're going to go to the bottom in this blue little taskbar and hit the Go Live option. This will run a live server, which is the plugin we just installed. And what this essentially means is you won't have to refresh every time you make a change. It'll automatically refresh for you. You'll notice up here we're on our local host at the port 5500 index.html. So if we go back into Visual Studio Code, we create our very first tag, which is going to declare the type of document. We do this with angle brackets. All HTML is done with angle brackets and occasionally a / or an exclamation point. So we're going to do our angle brackets, exclamation point, and in all caps, doc type, space, and in all lowercase, HTML. It does need to be all lowercase to specify that is HTML5 we're working in, otherwise it might get confused and think we're running an outdated version of HTML. After we've declared our document, we're going to create the HTML tags, and you'll notice in Visual Studio it automatically fills out the closing tag, which ends the same as the opening tag, but with a / before the text. So inside our HTML tag, we're going to create our first real tag called a head. And this is another section of the website. So the head section of your website, up here where it says 1.127.0.0.1, that's the title of the website. The head section is responsible for everything that isn't inside this web page. So everything on the outside, like this little title here, is responsible in the head section. So we'll go ahead and change that title to something cooler, like HTML Basics. Very cool, I know. And as it refreshes, we'll make sure we save that. Refreshes, this should update. I might force refresh it. There we go, HTML Basics. Now we're going to add our body tag underneath the closing tag for head. So we add our body tag, and this is going to be responsible for all of the main content in the website where this big white block solid is. So we're going to create a massive header text, and we do this by using our header tags. So we're going to hit the angle bracket H1 for header, and the 1 is just a size input. So if we write something in between that opening and closing tag like HTML Basics, and we go over here and refresh, we'll notice HTML Basics pops up. Header tags go all the way up to 6 different size options, H1 being the biggest and H6 being the smallest. In my opinion, H6 is way too small, so we're going to go with H4 for our second one and just say, learn HTML for free on YouTube. And refresh this, and you'll see our header 4 has popped up here. So underneath our header 4, we're going to add some standard text. We do this in an angle bracket with a P tag. P just stands for paragraph, and we're just going to type some gibberish in here. I'll just do it like this, or you can alternatively in VS Code write out lorem, L-O-R-E-M, and then the amount of words you want to generate, so 30, and if I just hit enter, this will generate 30 words of gibberish for us. Now if I go ahead and hit refresh, you'll notice all our gibberish has come up here in normal text in our paragraph. But this is pretty long across the page. Let's say at the end of elit, whatever that means. We want a new line in between, so we can't just go into our code and add a new line. So if I put a new line in here and then save it, nothing's going to happen. We actually need to add a line break, and we do that by adding another tag inside of our p tag where we want it to break. We do our bracket, br, bracket. Go ahead and save that, and now you'll notice on a new line, this text has appeared. Even though it's still in the same paragraph text, we can create new lines. We'll add another one at the end, just before culpa. If we refresh this again, you'll notice this goes to a new line. We can still separate our text further, and another thing we can do is add our HR tag. And what that is, that just adds a line across the page to separate content. So let's say underneath Learn HTML for free, we add one of these lines. And as you'll see on our website, we now have this massive horizontal ruler stretching across the page. You'll also notice that the BR and HR tags do not have a closing tag, and that's just because they don't need one. We don't need to specify where the end is, as they are sort of just a thing. Wherever we put them is where they will be placed. You can't really edit these too much in HTML. So we've gone over the HTML basics in this video. In the next video, we're going to look a little bit more at formatting. But before we leave, there is one important thing you do need to know, which is adding comments. Because anyone who hasn't been working on the same document as you, or a person who's just walking past, they're going to have no idea what they're looking at. So as you begin to work with other people, this becomes way more important. So we're going to add our bracket, exclamation point, 2 tags, and space. And you'll notice in HTML, it auto-fills out the end, like it does the closing tag. It'll also fill out the closing tag of your comment, which is this little arrow here. In between these arrows, we can write anything in here. So we can write, we are the worst developers in the world. Please hire us. And then if we go over here and refresh, you'll notice that is not popping up on our website. That's because this is a comment. Nothing that is a comment with these little arrow tags will be displayed on the website. They're purely just for organizing your code, and they're most commonly used. They might see them used like this. Body section starts here, and body section ends here. Just so as you're working on the code and it gets larger, you're going to have a lot better time finding different elements and tags. So that's the HTML basics. We're going to go over some more advanced stuff as the series progresses, so definitely keep watching. We're going to take you from knowing nothing about website development to be competent in developing your very first website. Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, maybe leave a comment and give us some feedback, and do subscribe. See you next time.